I'm going to begin by asking, how long after your wife's life-threatening illness did you decide to turn it into a comedy?
Oh my God, how long? Wait, it wasn't like I decided this should be a comedy. You know, we talked about it, but we first started talking about it about 5 years after the events of the thing, where we first started being like, should this be something we should write? It feels like it could be it is an interesting story. It feels like it could be an interesting movie. So it was about 5 years, because for a long time, it just felt vulgar to try and turn this pretty traumatic thing into a piece of entertainment.
I mean, and so in regards to playing Emily, I mean, often with actors, they always have to portray real-life people, but it must have been particularly different and kind of, I don't know, more pressure, I guess, attached when you know that she's probably going to be watching it as you were doing it, and then straight afterwards she was going to be giving you feedback and stuff. How did that kind of add to it? And did you almost have to fictionalise the characters to some extent to have that distance?
Yeah, it is really, I think of anything, the personalities of the people involved are fictionalized. Like Emily's parents are really different than the parents in the film. And I think that gave us a lot of license to play around and let me off the hook when it came to doing like an imitation or something like that. And then also I think Emily and I are quite alike already. So if I tried to like change myself slightly to become more like her, I think it would have been weirder for you. I think it's better. It was a better situation for us to be present tense with each other than to try to like be doing some kind of like historical reenactment.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to like feel how I felt when I first spoke to my real wife. I was like trying to feel how I felt talking to Zoe while I was talking to her.
Which was true love. Unlike what you
of
felt with your wife.
That's right.
And what's it like playing a version of yourself? I mean, are you literally playing yourself, or you are also playing a kind of altered character kind of version?
I approached it like playing a character, but what was interesting was looking back on myself in that time and writing this character and being like, all right, so what are this character's things? What are his problems? What's his like issue that he's sort of trying to work through? And really learning what my issues were going through that time. So I was able to articulate certain things to myself about myself that I hadn't been able to. So while it was like playing a character,
it was also like therapy.
It was like therapy. It was like therapy. It was like therapizing myself 10 years ago. I'm the therapist now, and I'm also laying on the couch 10 years ago. It would have been useful to have had it then, but it's okay now too.
And what do you think it is about stand-up as a profession? When you get stand-up comedians who do acting, often they maintain the same profession in the products. I mean, Seinfeld obviously always did it, and then you have is it Don't Think Twice, the recent kind of stand-up comedy, and then it was the Sleepwalk with Me. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think it is about that as a profession, that when stand-ups make film, they often like to keep the same profession in the project?
Well, we're very arrogant. Yeah. We're very full of ourselves. I think really it's just having stand-up in a movie is a very easy way to have the character, which we don't do in our movie, but say what they're feeling. It's kind of a cheat.
Same thing in Obvious Child. I mean, a lot of really great films use that.
Yeah, it's just very easy to be like, to just articulate how you're feeling when you're up on stage. And it's also something, it's just
it's a great question. Yeah, I haven't heard you be asked that question.
No, I have not been asked that question.
You should get like a prize for asking a question for the first time.
A new question!
Because I bet you've been asked a lot. What was it like playing Emily in front of Emily? I asked that one just before as well, which is why I thought I should do a new one afterwards.
I have like 7 different answers for that, but I gave you my best one.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a way for an audience to connect with the character when they're on stage. It's kind of a scary, vulnerable place to be. And seeing a character like that on stage alone with a microphone trying to win over a crowd, you sort of understand that it's like a tough thing, you know.
Also, it's cinematic. It's not like watching someone write a book or something, which is an incredibly boring thing to watch.
That's right. You're seeing something that is supposed to be entertaining.
Thanks so much for your time today.
You. Oh,
that's it.
Thank you.
All right.
We spent so much time talking about lizards.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey